Okay, let's get right into it. For a while now, the story around global energy efficiency has been, well, a little slow. But brand new data from the International Energy Agency shows that something's really starting to shift for 2025. We're seeing what looks like a major rebound, and in this explainer, we're going to unpack what that actually means, why it's happening, and the big question, is it really enough to get us back on track?
So, what's the big number that's got everyone's attention? It's this one, 1.8%. That's the projected improvement in global primary energy intensity for 2025. Now, in simple terms, that just means we're getting 1.8% better at using energy to grow our economies. But honestly, a number like this on its own can feel pretty abstract, so let's give it some much needed context.
And here it is. This is why we're calling it the rebound. That 1.8% is a huge jump from the 1.0% we saw in 2024. After a few years of sluggish progress, seeing this kind of acceleration is a really encouraging sign. It shows we can move the needle, and we can move it fast. But this isn't just about numbers on a chart. No, this rebound is having tangible, real-world impacts. And to really get it, we need to look at two of the world's biggest economies because they're driving a huge piece of the story. Get this, for the first time since 1973, power generation from coal went down in both China and India at the same time. I mean, think about that. That hasn't happened in over half a century. In China, it fell by 1.6%, and in India, it dropped 3.0%. And the reason why is so important? It's because a record-shattering rollout of clean energy, we're talking solar and wind, grew so fast that it more than covered all the new demand for electricity. This is a genuinely historic shift. So we've seen some pretty amazing progress, right? But here's where the story gets a lot more complicated. This rebound is absolutely good news, but is it good enough? And that leads us to the fundamental question that every single decision maker out there needs to be asking. Is this speed of progress actually going to get us where we need to be to hit our global climate targets? And this slide just lays it out perfectly. Our rebound to 1.8%, that's encouraging for sure. But the goal, the one the world agreed on, is a 4% improvement every single year by 2030. We are still less than halfway there. And that shortfall isn't a rounding error. It's a massive gap between where we are right now and where we've promised to be. And just so we're clear on where that 4% number comes from, it was a huge part of the global agreement at COP28 in Dubai. Almost 200 governments officially committed to working together to double the global average rate of efficiency improvement to 4% a year by the end of this decade. So what does that mean? Well, it means this efficiency gap has very real consequences. As you can see right here, when we fall short on efficiency, it feeds directly into what's called the emissions gap. That's the difference between where our emissions are heading and where science tells us they need to be to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Our current path is still taking us in the wrong direction. Okay, so we've got this mixed bag of real progress, but also huge shortfalls. To understand what's going on, we need to look at the forces at play. What are the tailwinds pushing us forward, and what are the headwinds holding us back? The tailwind it's undeniable. Just like we saw in China and India, the single biggest thing pushing us forward is the absolutely massive, historic deployment of clean energy technologies that's happening around the world right now. I mean, the scale of this is just staggering. In 2025 alone, China is estimated to have added over 300 gigawatts of solar and 100 gigawatts of wind. To put that in perspective, that's a new record for any country ever. In that same year, India added a record 35 gigawatts of solar and 6 of wind. This is the clean energy that let them meet growing demand without having to burn more coal. But even with that powerful tailwind, there are some major headwinds that are stopping us from getting to that 4% target. Let's break down the three biggest ones. First off, we've got huge policy gaps. About half of all countries still don't have mandatory energy efficiency codes for new buildings. Second, there are just massive missed opportunities, especially in industry, where something like 40% of the energy demand isn't even covered by performance standards. And third, it's a people problem, a critical skills shortage. An incredible 72% of employers in efficiency-related fields say they just can't find enough skilled workers. So if those are the problems, what are the solutions? Let's switch gears from diagnosis to action with a really clear 5-point plan for how decision makers can actually start closing this efficiency gap. And as the IEA's executive director, Fatih Birol, says here, the progress is encouraging, but governments simply have to work harder. This isn't about hoping for some magic bullet. It's about executing on a clear strategy. All right, here's the checklist. Number 1, strengthen policies. Let's close those gaps in building codes and industrial standards. 2, accelerate investment. We need to drive a ton of capital into retrofitting old buildings and deploying efficient tech. 3, let's actually use the best technology we have. Close the gap between the super efficient air conditioners already on the market and the average ones that people actually end up buying. 4, build the workforce. We need to launch serious programs to tackle that critical skills shortage. And number 5, modernize our grids so they can actually handle this huge influx of renewables. Let's wrap this up by just zooming out to the big picture for a second. Because this isn't just about abstract percentages or climate goals. This is about real-world stakes that genuinely affect every single one of us. And this slide really says it all. The key takeaway here is that efficiency is never about just one thing. When we get this right, we strengthen our energy security, we deliver more affordable bills for families and businesses, we boost our economic competitiveness, and we lower emissions. It is a win-win-win-win. So here's the bottom line. Energy efficiency isn't just one option on a long list. It's often called the first fuel. It's the cheapest resource we have, and it is the single biggest tool in our toolbox for building a more secure, affordable, and sustainable energy future. Ultimately, that rebound we're seeing in 2025 sends a really powerful message. Rapid progress is absolutely possible. The technology is here, the policies are well understood, so the question has changed. It's not about, can we close the efficiency gap anymore? The real question is, will we?